want to tell the audience that we've been updating them on how the backlash against Fox is playing out. And the ratings that we now have for Thursday show I don't know if you want to call it a boycott of his 8 p.m. hour, continues. They continue to have record low numbers in his spot where Thursday previously, Tucker had pulled in 3 million. The previous Thursday, the 8 p.m. hour got half that, 1.5 million. The week before on Thursday, Tucker had gotten 334,000. This week, this past Thursday, they got 136,000. The only reason they didn't lose to CNN in the demo that night is because Anderson Cooper got a 108,000, which is just, these numbers are basement toilet numbers, however you want to look at it. They did lose to MSNBC, and they lost to MSNBC the previous nights in the demo as well. So it's not going well for Fox News at 8 p.m. at all, which is the understatement of the year. Meanwhile, Media Matters for America, which I'm sure you know, Chaya, is its whole existence is to hate on Fox News. And now more broadly conservative media, now that Fox doesn't have the monopoly it once did. Media Matters for America releases another mysterious outtake of Tucker on set speaking frankly. This happened last week. 2 videos were released. By whomever could it be, Irina? To the New York Times, saying in one he called a woman yummy. We have zero idea the context. It could have been his wife for all I know. Zero idea. And one, he said something like, well, my postmenopausal audience still find me attractive in this outfit. Meanwhile, when I reported this last week, all of my postmenopausal viewers, because I have a lot of them, wrote in like, yes. And none of us is offended by that, even in the least. So nice try, Fox, but you tried and failed. So they first leaked to the New York Times. This is my supposition for the record. It hasn't been yet confirmed, but I know it's them. And I know it's Irina Briganti, who runs comms and fucking hates Tucker. Sorry. She hates his guts. And it's mutual. He doesn't like her either. None of us do. Nobody likes Irina. Now, if you want to go farther left from the New York Times, you'd have to go to Media Matters for America. And they, without comment, post the following bit of Tucker complaining about what a hot mess Fox Nation is. On his set, he's not on the air, and they're trying to get him to dress differently for this interview, and he doesn't want to do it. He's kind of asking why we should be prioritizing his dress and his interview for the Fox Nation situation as opposed to his primetime show, which he wants to dress for. Here's part of the exchange.
I don't want to be a slave to Fox Nation, which I don't think that many people watch anyway. But nobody's going to watch it on Fox Nation. Nobody watches Fox Nation because the site sucks. So I'd really like to just dump the whole thing on YouTube. But anyway, that's just my view. I'm just frustrated with it's hard to use that site. I don't know why they're not fixing it. It's driving me insane. We're working like animals to produce all this content, and the people in charge of it, whoever that guy's, whatever his name is, they're ignoring the fact that the site doesn't work. And I think it's like a betrayal of our efforts. That's how I feel. So of course I resent it.
All right, so let me tell you what this is about. I was talking with Melissa Francis, who came on this show last week and was a longtime Fox vet too. We talked about how the mission now has to be Tucker's audience can't go with him. These numbers at 8 p.m. are disaster for Fox. And Tucker cannot go to Newsmax, which has offered him big numbers, according to reports. Newsmax would love to have Tucker just slide on over to 8 p.m. And unlike digital media, it would allow him to remain live, which I know Tucker really likes. And there would be some reasons to do that. I could see why Tucker would say yes to that. I'm sure they're finding ways to open the bank account in new ways for Tucker. But you see, that's a threat to Fox. That actually is a real threat to Fox. And so what we have to telegraph to Chris Ruddy, who owns Newsmax, and any other potential employer is Tucker's he's difficult. He's not a team player. He rips on you from the inside, you see. He calls women allegedly the C word in his private messages, which were never meant to see the light of day. We need to police the way you think now, you see, even on your private time. He says bad things about the company's digital offerings. And by the way, at Newsmax, their digital offering is their strongest brand. That's where they make their money, their digital brand. So you see, he's a hassle. He's a difficult employee. He's not a team player. He rips on you from the inside. This is all an orchestrated hit job, in my opinion, and it's not a subtle one. It's not enough to fire you, Chaya. You must be destroyed, and it doesn't matter how nice a guy you were, how many points you put on the board for the channel, that you brought us through the Trump years, that you were number one in your time slot, that you haven't said one negative word about us. You will be destroyed to settle some angry, bitter, internal PR hacks, personal vendetta against you. And if she managed to convince the bosses, the Murdochs, that he's not good for them either, that he may have called them a name or two, so much the better, because they're the ones who make the final decisions. That's what I think is going on here. Your thoughts on all of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely feels like a very coordinated effort to silence him and to take him down. And the reason is simply because he tells the truth, right? That he says the things that no one else in the media will say. He asks the questions and no one else will ask. And I think that's why they're all coordinating to take him down. All of a sudden, we have his private text messages. We have these secret new, unearthed video footage of him saying these things. It does feel like a lot of people are conspiring together to silence him.
Mm-hmm. And now you get ridiculous pieces like the one from Brian Stelter, who, was formerly on CNN and lost his job because it was a terrible, terrible show that he was running at CNN that literally nobody watched. He writes a piece saying Tucker and Don Lemon are texting one another. Now, let me tell you how I'm just going to guess this happened with no actual firsthand knowledge of it. They're both being represented by my lawyer, Brian Friedman, because he's a pit bull and he's awesome, because of their media personalities and dogfights with their companies who have all the power. And so they're trying to find a power broker to represent them. And I guarantee you, Don Lemon said to Brian Friedman, do you have Tucker's number? I'm going to shoot him a text. Solidarity. They both got, there's zero chance Tucker ever asked Brian Friedman for Don Lemon's number, zero. And Tucker, being the gentleman he is, I'm sure received the text and they had a word or two about both getting fired and how disgusting our industry is. That's fine. But Brian Stelter actually reports this like they're now doing each other's hair in braids and is having sleepovers and, doing seances together, light as a feather, stiff as a board. and actually goes on to speculate that they may actually star, this is his speculation, he owns it, but he says, it may sound crazy, but I'm going to write it anyway. Could the two men team up? I can imagine some hotshot producer selling a new Crossfire, like it's for the good of the Republic. That these two, why don't we just get, speaking of George Clooney, why don't we get George Clooney and some community theater loser to pair up? Because that's the imbalance of power between those two. He's insane.
Tucker would destroy him.
Look, you did the tough thing during COVID. You paid your people and pulled your business through the pandemic. And now doing the tough thing could qualify you for up to $26,000 per employee at covidtaxrelief.org. Government funds are available right now. They've already been allotted and set aside to reward companies with 2 or more employees who stayed open during COVID. It's not a loan, and you don't have to pay it back. The program's complicated, but no one knows more about it than the CPAs and tax experts at covidtaxrelief.org. You pay nothing up front. They do all the work and share a percentage of the cash they get you. Businesses of all types, including nonprofits and churches, can qualify, including those who took PPP loans, even if you had increases in sales. You did the tough thing for your employees during COVID. Now let covidtaxrelief.org help get you up to $26,000 per employee. Visit covidtaxrelief.org. That's covidtaxrelief.org, covidtaxrelief.org. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.